The Essays of Francis Bacon of Youth and Age. A man that is young in years may be old in hours, if he have lost no time, but that happeneth rarely. Generally youth is like the first cogitations, not so wise as the second. For there is a youth in thoughts as well as in ages, and yet the invention of young men is more lively than that of old, and the imagination stream into their minds better and, as it were, more divinely. Natures that have much heat, and great violent desires, and perturbations, are not ripe for action till they have passed the meridian of their years, as it was with Julius Caesar and Septimus Severus, of the latter of whom is said, Juventutem egit aerobius imo furoribus plenam, and yet he was the ablest emperor almost of all the list. But reposed natures may do well in youth, as it is seen in Augustus Caesar, Cosmos Duke of Florence, Gaston de Fleury, and others. On the other side, heat and vivacy in age is an excellent composition for business. Young men are fitter to invent than to judge, fitter for execution than for counsel, and fitter for new projects than for settled business. For the experience of age in things that fall within the compass of it directeth them, but in new things abuse them. The errors of young men are the ruin of business, but the errors of aged men amount to but this, that more might have been done sooner. Young men in the conduct and manage of actions embrace more than they can hold, stir more than they can quiet, fly to the end without consideration of the means and degrees, pursue some few principles which they have chanced upon absurdly, care not to innovate which draws unknown inconveniences, use extreme remedies at first, and that which doubleth all errors will not acknowledge or retract them, like an unready horse that will neither stop nor turn. Men of age object too much, consult too long, adventure too little, repent too soon, and seldom drive business home to the full period, but content themselves with a mediocrity of success. Certainly it is good to compound employments of both, for that will be the good of the present, because the virtues of either age may correct the defects of both, and good for succession, that young men may be learners while men of age are actors, and lastly good for extreme accidents, because authority followeth old men, and favour and popularity youth. But for the moral part, perhaps youth will have preeminence as age hath for politic. A certain rabbin upon the text, Your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams, inferreth that young men are admitted nearer to God than old, because vision is a clearer revelation than a dream. And certainly the more a man drinketh of the world, the more it intoxicateth, and age doth profit rather in the powers of understanding than in the virtues of the will and affections. There be some have an over-early ripeness in their years, which fadeth betimes. These are first, such as have brittle wits, the edge whereof is soon turned, such as was Hermogenes the rhetorician, whose books are exceeding subtle, who afterwards waxed stupid. A second sort is of those that have some natural dispositions which have better grace in youth than in age, such as in a fluent and luxuriant speech, which becomes youth well, but not age. So Tully said of Horentius, idem manabat, nec idem disabat. The third is of such as take too high a strain in the first, and are magnanimous more than tractive years can uphold, as was Scipio Africanus, of whom Livy said in effect, ultima primis sedebant.